from doing some of the practices, just take a break in a forward fold or take a break in the cocoon. Okay? So let's actually find our leg loops. See if you can get those puppies in front of you. And don't worry if we kick each other, honey. It's just part of our deal. And you're going to stretch them out. So get your foot in there and stretch the leg loop all the way to your calf. Okay, that's why I made it with so much fabric. Right? It's like, oh yeah. Now anybody can do this, right? So this is another way that we can utilize the leg loops. We can spread them out over the entire calf. So when somebody's having pain behind the knees, it's usually because the kidneys are deficient and there's a sensitivity there because it's a kidney point. Yeah, it is like the underarms, the inner thighs, the backs of the knees. They're all very sensitive. They're yin lines, but we're also getting rid of the excess that's happening, the yin excess. So basically, this will rebalance your kidneys. So in this particular pose, let's just play around a little bit, okay? So floating pigeon. Pull your left leg in, hold on to your leg loop, and just let yourself have a gentle stretch. So this is like I call these the no big deal poses. This is like the no big deal posing. Pigeon. So just hold on to your foot, just let yourself sink back. So yeah, so I don't usually start with these poses because some people will tend to just prefer them over the, more active stretches. But it's still 100% okay to put on a movie, get in a swing, and just enjoy yourself. Right? Okay, extend the left leg. Let's try the pigeon on the right leg. Pull it in. Hold on to the foot. Give the nice little stretch. Does that feel good? It's a no big deal pigeon.
It's an awesome pigeon.
Yeah. So these are the kind of things that we can do that really just encourage people to stick with it and do some restorative as well as dynamic. So we're going to keep holding on to the right. I want you to extend your right leg up towards the sky and just give yourself a nice hamstring stretch. I have my arms wrapped around the leg loop, so I'm using the leg loop to pull down. Just be creative with it. Like make it up. I do like keeping my head inside the swing. If you pop your head out, it's going to straighten the neck. So just keep your head inside. Awesome. So flex your foot back, get a nice good hamstring stretch. And then when you're ready, extend that leg. And switch sides. Let the left leg come up towards the sky. Use the leg loop to pull down and stretch the back of the leg. So right leg extended, left leg up. Good. Flex the foot back. Get a nice good stretch going. Yay. Nice and easy. That's our style. Okay, both legs up towards the sky. So see if you can, so one is doing, what I like to do is like a version of Happy Baby. So hold on to the outer edges of your feet and just pull straight down. You're still kind of wrapped in the leg loops, but they're not really doing much in this pose. Okay, so everybody a Happy Baby? Yeah. So this is a really nice Happy Baby. Easy going baby. Awesome. And then what I like to do is pull my legs up, both of them up over my head. So you might have to kind of like scooch yourself down a little bit. But see if you can come into a version of plow. With your feet in place. Yeah. So again, no big deal plow. So feet up over the head. Both legs up towards the sky. So my hips are still pointing down towards the ground. My hips are not up towards the sky like a normal plow. Just towards plow. Okay? So let's lengthen our legs out. Okay, lengthen our arms up over the head. Usually what I like to do is just kind of fishtail a little bit from side to side. So this would be like our swagger, our scissors, right? But we're reclined. I'm going to just pop you a little. We'll see how, yeah, there we go. Now we're synchronizing. Yay. Yay. So this would be the kind of equivalent, this would be instead of doing our floating Buddha. Okay? So let's try a little back bend here. So you can keep your feet in your leg loops. They can always come out, and if they came out with the knees bent, or we could have these at the knees, then we would go into our chillaxing sequence. But if we're going to keep them wrapped around our legs, then we can actually bring our arms out, right? So my upper body starts to slide down. I'm going to hold on to my swing, and I'm just going to let it kind of bunch up at my waist. There we go. So if I feel brave, I can bring my hands down to the ground. Usually if I'm in the swing like this, it's because I'm working with some older people, and I would tell them to keep holding on. Just keep holding on and do a little back bend. Right? You can even have the swing up behind the heart. It doesn't even have to go all the way down to the waist. Okay?
Usually slip out on that one.
Not for me, but I actually know how to use the swing, so if somebody feels like they're going to fall, then I usually tell them to hold on. Yeah, just hold on. So that's how we can do a back bend. It looks a lot like ladle, right? Yeah. That's great, Leda. That looks really good. Now, usually I don't do cocoon until the end because we get some sleepy type people. They're like, oh, this is nice. I'm ready for my nap. Okay, so we don't have to use the leg loops when we're in cocoon. Let's go into Viparita, which means we're going to extend our legs up the sides of the swing. So release your leg loops. Extend your legs up the sides. Yeah, put towards the sky. I let my arms kind of extend over my head and bend my elbows, so my hands are hanging out. So both my legs and my arms are open. Viparita is one of my other favorites that I tend to kind of relax in. So from here, we can start to bend our knees, revisit happy baby, right? Knees towards the armpits. And then I'm going to just bend my knees into my chest and wrap my arms around my shins and give myself a big hug like child's pose. And then I'm going to come into butterfly wing. So like Baddha Konasana, I'm going to press the bottoms of my feet together and knees open wide. So butterfly legs, but you know, they're not going to go too far because the swing's right there. Cross your arms over your chest and give yourself a big hug. And I would usually end in like a shavasana like this in our little cocoon and do a whole little rebirthing process. Go through our own metamorphosis and transformation and emerge like a little butterfly.
Can you give us a little taste of what you might say?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are many, many recordings which you will find in the manual that links to YouTube. But I usually have people like drop into the center of their chest and then let their awareness drop down into their navel and their belly button and then just breathe into that space and relax their whole body until they feel their breath breathing them. So let the breath take over and allow the sense of awareness to expand past the cocoon, past the room, and just back into full awareness of our consciousness. And I let them drop in for 5 minutes. And then once we're ready to emerge, we start to deepen the breath. Allow ourselves to wiggle our fingers and our toes, start to undulate the hips from side to side. So it's like we're getting too big for the shell that we've been contained. And then we extend our arms overhead. We give ourselves like that big first morning stretch, and you let yourself have a big yawn and open up your jaw and your hips, your cheeks, your lips. And then extend the legs. So the legs are straight out in front of you, your arms are straight out over your head, and then you can just do a little fishtailing from side to side. So after a nice 5-10 minute meditation, then we start to just emerge from the room. Our hands and our feet are entering back into the room. And then when we feel ready, we can do whatever leg stretches. We can do the same kind of scissor stretch here, or bring the knees into the chest and feet overhead, all that. And then we hold on to the sides of the swing and help ourselves back up. And we just keep our eyes closed and our lips sealed and our hands in prayer. And just give people time to re-enter. So our feet touch down and we start to feel that anchoring back into the earth. We kind of gather up and harness all these qualities that we've gained in our practice into our heart space, remembering this feeling of floating and flying, feeling centered, calm, strong, and relaxed in our being, and hold on to this sense of expansion, of spaciousness, and that awareness of more room in the body. So we keep the heart open, the hips nice and stretched and relaxed. Allow our minds to continue to expand as we enter our day. I have at least 30 guided meditations on my website. That is one of the main practices that I do in my Healy work. And so I usually give people a different taste of that without getting too intergalactic on them. Because some people want that meditation process and some people just want to be quiet and properly relaxed. That's my favorite part, is really getting into the cocoon and really feeling the transformation that happens with our expanded mind and our body really open and bringing more awareness into these spaces that were once contracted, closed.
I have no idea what you said about the kidneys and the back of the kidneys and the back of the hips and the hips. I totally have those.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, that's why I've created the practice the way that I have. It hits all the different points of your body. Since I've had the benefit of doing healing work for 20 years, I know all the mapping of the body, and I mean, I love the yoga swing because it's fun, but I use it for therapeutics. So when we do the training, I have what I call like the aerodynamics, which is what we're learning now, which is the practica. So we're basically learning the nuts and bolts. It's the physical practice. So there's 3 levels to that. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But then the second module is more of the therapeutics, and that practice is really learning more of the techniques about how these practices can be used to advance our health and well-being. So we learn about brain chemistry and neurotransmitters and hormones and endocrine system and lymphatics, as well as really understanding some of the kind of neuromuscular and myofascial techniques that are going on in this thing. So that's really kind of my area of expertise. But what I'm most passionate about is what I call the sacred geometrics. And that is learning the advanced metaphysics that happens with the body. How we're actually expanding our consciousness and opening up our microcosmic orbit and working with our dormant strands of DNA, the way that it's interacting with the pineal and pituitary and hypothalamus, and there's different Merkaba fields around the body, and how the heart activation, and we're literally shifting the way that we're spinning our electrons, or spinning the spherical nature of our cells, which is bringing us back into optimal health. And this all has to do with, anti-aging techniques and awakening the courageous inner child. And I have a whole article called Contemplation that touches upon all these different